My wife went into hospice the day after Christmas. She passed away before New Year's. Before that I was taking care of her with help from an in-home care nurse. My wife used to participate in triathlons. She was a beautiful muscular brute. I don't know what she saw in me, but I'm grateful for whatever it was. She weighed just over 90 pounds when she went into hospice. Her kids lived on the house with us and didn't help. They are young adults. 23 and 25. My sister would drive from her town across the city to help cook and clean. She has her own family and a full-time job, and she did that for her best friend and her brother. My stepkids just made more work for us. They ate food that people from the church brought for us. Then they would leave the casserole out instead of putting the leftovers in the fridge. One time my dog got into it and I spent 3 hours cleaning dog diarrhea up instead of being with Danny. I ducking hate that they took 3 hours away from us. I've known the kids for 10 years. They were good kids. I moved on with Danny a year after we met. We got married a year later. Second marriage for her. First and only for me, I think. Her ex had systematically screwed her over. She got the house in the divorce. She said she wanted the kids to have stability. Her ex had taken out home equity loans before the divorce. She knew about them but was blindsided by the divorce. Long story short, I sold my condo when we got married and used the money to pay off the house in full. I basically bought the house. I was on title and we had a prenup. The house would be 100% hers if I died first. She had no equity at all in the house. Now that she is gone, I don't want to be there anymore. So I sold it. I bought a condo in the Ice District. That's a neighborhood by the hockey arena in my city. We had talked about downsizing before we knew she was ill. She wanted the boys to grow up. When we found out she was sick, everything got postponed. We did not talk about the house or the boys much while we were dealing with her illness. I'd still been considering it since we knew the inevitable was coming. I was going to keep the house for the kids though. I was just going to take out a mortgage on it and make them pay it so they got used to the idea of rent and responsibilities. Obviously not on the full value. They could not afford that even though they both have jobs and have not paid rent or for food ever. Their behavior during her illness made me reconsider. The day she passed, I contacted a guy I know who was looking for a property like mine. I sold it to him that week. Possession is in May. I am not charging the kids rent and I'm still buying groceries for the house. I did not immediately kick them out or anything. A few people, including the kids, people from our church, and her ex have called me heartless for kicking them out of their home right after their mother passed away. I'm so numb these days I don't care. My sister says that I'm in the right. But she would say that if I committed genocide. She is hardcore ride or die. Comment 1. I don't know why no one's pointing out that you haven't once mentioned considering what your wife would have wanted you to do. Maybe she would have agreed with you on selling the house. It feels like you sold the house out of spite and grief more than anything, and something tells me that their mother wouldn't have wanted that. Those boys lost a mother as well, and you're talking about casseroles. You don't own all the grief. NTA for doing what you want with your house. YTA for intentionally spiting the children of the woman you loved and dishonoring her spirit. Comment 2. There are good reasons that it is recommended people not make big life-changing decisions during the first year after immediate family members die. You are not thinking through all the impacts of your decision when you are dealing with such grief. By acting on the initial impulse, while legally in the right, OP has probably negatively impacted his long-term relationship with the stepsons. Seek counseling, or at least read up on grief. My condolences on your loss. Comment 3. You may not like those kids, but they're all you have left of your wife. So just bear that in mind as you go forward. The situation ducks for everyone involved, so maybe nobody is TA. But be the bigger person and help them figure out the move. Let them have some of their stuff, furniture, dishes, photos, the Christmas decorations, etc., that they grew up with so they can take it with them to their new home. I'm a 60-year-old father of 3, 2 sons, ages 32 and 28, and a daughter, 22. This issue involves my middle son and my daughter-in-law, B, 27F. During their wedding planning 6 months ago, B made it clear she values her independence and feminism, opting not to take our family's last name to maintain her identity. I respect her decision, despite our family tradition favoring surname sharing. I genuinely appreciate B, she's a wonderful partner for my son, albeit sometimes her strong opinions and idealistic views seem to overlook her privilege. Our family vacations have been on pause due to COVID and significant life events. With finances not being an issue for us, my wife and I have traditionally covered these trips. There have been expectations of these trips, such as prioritizing family time and activities over personally preferred activities. This year, we're planning a bit of a more luxurious trip to the Maldives. However, B has been assertively expressing her desire to break from tradition, evident during their wedding. She opted out of typical customs like flower girls, a mother-son dance, and being walked down the aisle by her father. Although I funded the wedding, I kept my feelings to myself after my son requested not to add to their stress. I didn't appreciate the communication style that was used and told my son, who said he would relay this feedback to B. I felt she was rather rude to my wife, who was sad she wouldn't be partaking in a mother-son dance, i.e. not understanding why she would be sad there wouldn't be a dance. For the upcoming trip, I've considered stating that I'll only cover expenses for those bearing our last name. After B's continuous emphasis on independence and breaking from tradition, I felt this was a reasonable stance. I was discussing this with my son, who asked if I could cover their expenses this time. I thought about it and decided not to. I declined. My rationale is that B's firm stance on independence should extend to navigating the repercussions of their decisions, financial ones included. My son is disappointed, and my wife believes I'm being overly rigid, arguing that family support transcends proving a point. I'm torn between respecting B's independence and wanting to assist them. So if I decide not to pay for my daughter-in-law's portion of the family trip due to her insistence on independence and refusal to adopt our family's surname? Comment 1, I think YTA. Your son, the grown-ass man, could have told his then-fiancée that her independence was her thing and that he wanted a mother/son dance at his wedding and that was not negotiable. He didn't care about the dance either. I don't see why you're taking issue with a no-flower girl or not having her father walk down the aisle. Really, how did that hurt you? As for the vacation, did you even talk to Brie about it directly? Or do you have so little respect for women that you think only husbands can make decisions for the couple? Comment 2. YTA. You come across as controlling and petty. It's your money and you're free to spend it however you want. But don't be surprised if your attempt to punish B for not being the submissive daughter-in-law you were hoping for end up in your son reducing contact with you to the point where you'll be wondering why you rarely get to see your grandkids. Comment 3. YTA. Calling it respect for B's stance on independence is a poor attempt to put a positive spin on your need punish B for not doing exactly what you wanted her to do with her own name and with her and your son's wedding, because even though you paid for it, it was their day. I have a feeling that if they knew your financial support would come with these kinds of controlling strings attached, they'd have found a way to manage things themselves. If you keep pushing these issues, don't be surprised if you see your son and B less and less, along with any children they may have. I'm a 39-year-old man recently diagnosed with hypertension, type 2 diabetes and CHF. I have been married for the past 10 years with the love of my life, a 35-year-old bright, attractive and hard-working woman with whom I have a beautiful 4-year-old daughter. 2 days after Christmas Eve, I was at work when I started wheezing and feeling chest pain. Before I knew it, I had passed out. I got admitted to the nearest hospital, where I got my CHF diagnosis. This forced me, after a long time of deliberation, to finally put my affairs in order. I also have a 46-year-old sister who has, unfortunately, not made the best decisions in life. After a rough divorce and a major struggle with alcohol, she is now homeless with 2 kids, 14 and 9, for whom the father rarely paid child support the first few years and then left, so she has been living, rent-free, in an apartment I own since 2016. Sometimes I will also provide them food and services, to which my wife did not initially agree, but finally grew fond of the kids to the point that she offers to take care of them whenever my sister relapses. I love my nephews and sister with all my heart, in the same way I love my wife and my daughter. Anyhow, in view of the recent events, I feel that, should I be gone soon, my wife could keep working and manage to start over and provide for our daughter without many challenges. She is a top executive at a global firm and makes good money. I also know she has been able to save a decent amount for her retirement, so I don't feel they would be going through any financial strains. For my sister, I cannot say the same, as she rarely makes ends meet. Her work opportunities are limited also, since she decided to skip high school and marry instead of pursuing a degree. Long story short, I wrote my wife and daughter out of my will, leaving them only symbolic effects per my lawyer's recommendation, so that all my goods will go to my sister and nephews the moment I'm gone. Total worth is around 1.1 M. My wife does not know yet about any of these new arrangements, although I'm planning on telling her soon. Hopefully she will understand my decision. My father called me the A word for doing this, but he also won't help my sister and has disinherited her in favor of my other two brothers. He will probably write me from his will as well, since I'm likely dying before him. Comment 1. YTA, it's your money but you've decided to leave it entirely to an adult which can make their own choices yet refuses to be responsible instead of the woman you committed your life to under oath and the child you brought into this world. Can't imagine how well a freshly orphaned 4-year-old will handle knowing that their daddy didn't care enough about them to put them more prominently into the will. Comment 2. Yes. I think this is disaster in the making. I am so outraged for his daughter and wife with the overt disrespect and disregard for the message this action sends. I am also angry for the nephews because those kids will not really benefit from his estate if he just gives his money freely to an adult who can't be responsible enough pay for the basics in their lives. So egregious. Comment 3. YTA. For 2 reasons. You say your wife is the love of your life, but are making a major family decision without her input. Also, what if there was a catastrophic financial event that hits your family after your death and your assets aren't there to rescue them? Bad planning on your part. The second reason is you're really not helping your sister like you think you are. She is an alcoholic. You are only enabling her by giving her no responsibility to clean up her act. Free rent and now free money. She'll only waste that million by drinking it away. There's a reason why your father isn't helping. She needs tough love, not a free ride. Last week, myself and 4 of my children moved into a 4-bedroom house. As there is 5 of us and only 4 bedrooms, my teenaged sons are sharing a bedroom. They are 17 and 13. Myself, my 12-year-old daughter, and 27-year-old autistic son have our own rooms. They boys have shared a bedroom all their life, until last summer when my 22-year-old daughter moved out and one of them took her room. Now that we've downsized, they're unhappy about sharing a room again. The house has 2 bedrooms and a bathroom upstairs. One of the bedrooms is tiny and is my daughter's room and the other is mine, so we can share the same bathroom. There is also 2 bedrooms and a bathroom downstairs. One is around the same size as my bedroom and the other is around 5 feet wider. The smaller bedroom is still a decent size with enough room for 2 double beds and the rest of their furniture. In the end, I decided to give my teens the smaller bedroom for a few reasons. My 17-year-old is a senior in high school and will be going to college in the fall, at which point my 13-year-old will have the room mostly to himself other than school breaks. My 27-year-old has a part-time job and pays me $150 in rent a month. My 27-year-old also spends more time at home / in his room than his younger brothers. I'm planning on getting him a couch and his own TV setup so he can have his own living space in the room. My teens are very active and have never spent a lot of time hanging out in their rooms even when they each had their own. Although my 13-year-old doesn't see his dad, my 17-year-old does. He has his own room at his dad's house, and although he spends more time at my home, he still stays with his dad somewhat frequently. Despite all the reasons I've listed, the teens have expressed that they are unhappy that they have been given the smaller room. They think as there is two of them, they should have gotten the bigger bedroom. My 13-year-old is the most annoyed of the two and was texting his older sister complaining. She talked to me about it and took their side and suggested it seems like I'm playing favorites by giving their older brother the bigger room. I understand with their argument, but also don't think a few extra feet of space is going to heal their frustration of sharing a room again. I'm willing to listen to criticism about this and possibly change things around. Am I being the a-hole and should I switch their rooms before my older son gets too settled? Comment 1. YTA, I think miss the major wrong in your thinking. Consider this, the larger room should go to the two teens because not only are they sharing a room, but an even smaller space together. Your adult son being only single here can surely take the smaller room as he will get privacy either way. Giving your younger sons more space will hopefully lessen their frustration for having to share. And as far as giving your adult son a couch, a TV setup and that whole shebang looks like you are favoring him over the younger two, he doesn't need that imho. So bad move, I think. Switch them. Comment 2. I don't know that you the are or not, but yes, you need to change things around, at least for now. Kids sharing should have the larger bedroom. On the spectrum or not, the 27-year-old can have the smaller bedroom for now and go without a couch. A TV hooks to the wall so space doesn't matter there, and there are plenty of space-saving things that can be done to his room to allow for more living space. Comment 3. YTA. Tell me you deprioritize your teen sons without telling me you deprioritize your teen sons. The excuses you're making are so dismissive. They've never had their own spaces for any reasonable amount of time. The least they could do is have a bigger room since there is two of them. You admit that a few extra feet won't heal their frustration. So why not at least, as their mother and the person who decided to bring them into this world, at least give them a little compassion and give them those few extra feet? Seems like the bare minimum you can do to make their living arrangement even slightly more fair and tolerable. They really didn't ask for this.